in
crazy.
your experience, have you observed any difference gaming in North America compared to gaming in Europe? Although from your perspective, I did want to ask this
Ooh,
to everyone else because
yeah.
we had almost an all-American panel apart from us. Um, but either way, you might be a little bit traveled, but from your perspective at least.
Yeah, so great question. So it's funny. I think this the stereotypical perception is that European women are more promiscuous. Now that might have been the case 30, 40 years ago, like pre-internet, right? But in my experience, I find North American women are way fucking sluttier, dude. Like way more promiscuous, way more DTF.
So in my experience, I find that European women are a lot. It really depends, right? What city? Because Europe's a very big place. There's like how many countries in Europe? Like 50 or something like that. So
It's
like, or
crazy.
it might be like fuck 20, 30, something like that, right? So it depends where you go, obviously, and it depends on what city you're in as well, right? But I find in general, North American
44.
women are more promiscuous and more fucking sexually outgoing than European women, right? I find like a lot of the OnlyFans girls or a lot of the porn star chicks, like they're fucking North American based. And dude, I mean, I live in Toronto, right? So Toronto's a really interesting city because like very good nightlife. But dude, the girls are all like fucking sugar babies. Very similar to like LA, Miami. Like there's a lot of more promiscuous women in a city like Toronto than I would say in most places you'd find in Europe. Like I find a lot of Eastern Europe, the women are a lot more conservative. They're maybe they'll wait a little bit before they sleep with you. Like I'll give you an example. Ukraine. There's tons of Ukrainian women that are immigrating to Canada. Outside of Ukraine, Canada has the largest Ukrainian population, right? And I mean, it's like, dude, Toronto's like half the fucking girls that are out now are like Ukrainian refugees or girls that immigrated here before the war, after the war, whatever, right? And I find a lot of those women are less likely to sleep with you on the first date than the local women that grew up here, right? So, I mean, I've dated Ukrainian women and I've experienced that. So I find a lot of European women generally are less likely to sleep with you right away, right? But when they do, they're a little bit more wild, a little bit more crazy, a little bit more exciting, a little bit more exotic.
Hmm. It's crazy because speaking of Ukraine, a year ago, I had a Ukrainian coworker and she just moved to London because she was just evacuating from Ukraine basically as a refugee or whatever. And we had like this staff party and she had this one-on-one conversation with me. I was digging some information out and she would basically go on Tinder and go on dates every single week, multiple times per week, and have guys pay for her food and then never sleep with them. She was just like using them just
Yeah.
for a free meal. Some
I
fucking
think I think a
crazy
lot of
shit.
I think a lot of European women are a lot less promiscuous than society even gives them a reputation for. I don't think they're as promiscuous as people think they are, right? Versus like, I mean, it depends where you go in America as well, right? Because you go to like the Midwest and you have like very conservative like type women that don't sleep around. Then you'll have a lot of conservative women that act conservative, but actually, they're out fucking. They go to college, they're away from home for the first time, they're running around sleeping on like with any guy they can get their hands on, right? So it really depends on like per person. But I just know my experience as a club promoter in a city like Toronto. I have access to a lot of women. I meet a lot of beautiful women. It's been a lot. It's a lot of fun, But if I go to a place, if I go to a certain place in Europe, I mean, don't get me wrong, bro. Like fucking, I'll tear it up anywhere I go. Yeah, so I mean, we were in fucking Mykonos, for 3 nights of Poland. I went to Poland for fucking 3 days, in 2022, late 2022. Poland, you know what I mean? Like, as long as I have my fucking wingmen, one of my solid fucking wings to go out with and pimp it, off cold approach, we'll tear it up. In Toronto, I have more of a setup. So obviously I'm a little bit biased because I'm like fucking, I'm seeing the best and the worst of women. I'm around so many fucking women. It's absolutely absurd, right? But I definitely feel it really depends on what city and what country you're in as well. There's actually a game map. Fuck, I don't know who set this up, but there's like a map that shows you every country in the world and how easy it is to get laid. And so a
Oh, I
lot of the
seen
times,
that.
like
Yeah.
I was traveling with Bradicus back in the day, and we were like actually using that map as reference on like what country to go to next, or like what to go to next, right? And I don't think it's entirely correct at times. Like it said Peru is easier than Colombia, but I was in fucking Colombia
Hmm.
in dude, I smashed 22 women in a week, right? All from Tinder and Instagram, right? Zero from cold approach. Yeah, I found going to the club was useless because the scalability that I have in a city like Medellin from fucking Tinder or dating apps is just fucking insane. And like I could probably get similar results like that in Toronto. If I didn't have any girlfriend, I was really motivated, I really want to get some pussy, I could probably get I could probably do 15 women in a week in Toronto if I really push myself. I was really pushing myself that week in Medellin. But like the setup we were staying at fucking this like luxury mansion that was fucking used to be owned by fucking Pablo, you know. And then just like I was running Instagram ads. I've really pimped out Instagram. Like we're doing all this really cool shit. So, I was tearing it up, doing really, really good. So it really depends. Like I think really what matters the most is your proactivity towards trying to get the girls. And then also like your setup. Like obviously, like I'll give you another example of this. Like I went to Egypt and there's like no women there. It's like, how do you even fucking meet women there? But I'm sure there must be some fucking dude out there in Egypt that is finding hot single girls and tearing it up. You know what I'm saying? So like the way I see it is there's always a guy getting laid in any city you go to more than the rest of them. There's always going to be like, there's some dude in LA getting mad pussy. There's some dude in New York getting mad pussy. There's some guy in Toronto getting mad pussy, right? And you just got to find what the top guys are doing and just kind of copy the strategy.
Bring him onto the
You know what I mean? So like,
panel.
cause say again.
Bring him onto this panel. We have to fucking get to the bottom of this. We need like 193, however many countries there are. Just have everyone on here, like the one representative. We got the North Korean guy. How does it work in North Korea? How fucking weird would that be?
And I'm sure there's like some fucking dude who has like a dominance hierarchy set up in North Korea, in Pyongyang, like fucking North Korea, right? Who's just like part of the government and he's just tearing it up, tearing up pussy left and fucking right. It's probably Kim Jong-un, right? But like there's
Yeah.
someone doing it in a way, shape, or form, and he's getting more pussy than the rest of them, right? And so like that's kind of the mindset I've always taken with travel. Like, it doesn't matter, like, if I'm like, I don't like comparing cities or countries because, one very common thing that me and my dating coach buddies used to have back in the day, whereas we would always joke about how our like audience would be like, oh, well, you can get pussy in that city, but you can't get girls in my city. Right. So I always thought it was really, really funny how that works because it's like, of course, that's not true. There's always someone getting pussy in that city. And so, like, what I used to like to do is travel because I don't really travel as much as I used to, but I used to love to travel to different cities and just fucking tear it up in that city, just kind of flex on everyone that it's possible to get women in your city, right? Whether you're in like Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, or Barcelona, Spain, or like Manila, Philippines, like it's like it doesn't fucking matter, bro. Like there is someone out there in that city getting puss. You can come say hi if you want. Yeah, go for it. So like there's always someone out there just fucking doing it. And so like you just got to realize that there's someone out there doing it, and most guys have an excuse of why it's not them. So I don't like comparing North America to fucking Europe because it's like, bro, if you put me in like Helsinki, Finland, like I would love to go. Like probably one of the next trips I'm gonna do is probably gonna be like Helsinki, Finland, because like the girls are just fucking gorgeous, and it's just so easy to get women there, right? As a ethnic minority brown dude or whatever. Like I remember going there with my ex-girlfriend many years ago, and like, bro, girls just like eyeing me like, what the fuck? And then one of my best friends keeps saying, bro, we gotta go to Helsinki. Like the girls there are like all fucking models. And they're all super fucking hot. So I know if I was gonna see like Helsinki, I'm gonna do great. I'm gonna fucking tear it up. We're gonna have a great fucking time. Right. So it doesn't really matter. It really just matters like you're on this is the map. So it really just
Yeah.
matters effort. Right. But yeah, so if you look at the map, right, Canada, America, Helsinki, Finland, or all Scandinavia, it's all like relatively the same. right? But I think what matters more is like your experience in that city, like how, like the reason I do so well in Toronto is because I've done so much game in Toronto for so many years that I just figured out, you know, what works and what doesn't. You know, like I just kind of figured out over a long period of time what would be the optimal setup and strategy to tear up pussy in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I do fucking better than anybody I know in Toronto, right? And so, you know, I'm sure if I go to fucking, I don't know, like Turkey, for example, there might be a bit of a learning curve. You know, if I go to fucking like Kazakhstan, there might be a bit of a learning curve. I might not have the same setup or the same strategies that work in Toronto, but for a long enough period of time, I figured out. Even over a short enough period of time, I figured out, right? And so, you know, I don't think it really even matters what city or country you're in. Obviously, if you're in like Saudi Arabia or fucking you know, like Egypt or like very strict Muslim countries, right? It might be a little bit difficult or more a little bit different. Even like a place like India, like I don't know, I've never actually been to India, so I have fucking no idea,
They put it
right?
in
But
yellow.
like I'm sure I'll do well. Say again?
They put it in yellow, and
Yeah, so I
India
mean, I don't know
being
if
a
I even
big
believe
community
that
for
because I've
me,
seen
it's
statistics. I've seen statistics with India that say like the average female body count there is one, right? And so I don't like I'm sure I would do well. And like because I have a huge social media audience and like I've kind of gone like I don't want to say I've gone mainstream or whatever, but like a lot of my videos popped off. I did like 300 million views on Instagram in a span of a few months. And I have a lot of like Indian fangirls. I'm not attracted to Indian girls at all. And they just cold DM me asking for sex, asking to come fucking link up with me. Like, but obviously a lot of these girls are in fucking India, right? So like, I'm sure if I went to India specifically from just like fangirls, I'd tear it up, or from like Tinder, I'd tear it up, right? But I'm sure if I went there, I'd have a bit of a fucking learning curve, right? I'm sure I would have like a bit of a
that'd be
difficulty
crazy.
because I don't speak the language, I don't really understand the culture, right? But over a longer period of time, I'm sure I'd figure it out, and I'd probably get better results than the average guy there because I have so much dating experience in general. You know,
Holy
but
fuck.
I might even go there and I'd have to consult the local dating coaches and, you know, kind of pick their brain and see what's up, you know, so it's going to be like that anywhere you go, but there is always someone out there tearing it up. You know, like I know that like, Delhi,
You
like in your game global group, I know like Delhi and Mumbai and like the big cities have like a big game community, you know,
oh, fucking
I would actually
huge.
argue that the game communities in India, because like I've seen like pick a lot of pickup forums, like some of the most active groups now are like the big Indian cities, right? So like, you know, there's guys out there doing game, right? I don't know if you ever talked to Iron Man Lifestyle, Shitej. He's got a massive audience. He teaches PUA and game. He's got like 400,000 fucking subscribers, right? So there's obviously a huge market for guys in fucking India learning this shit, right? You should look into him. Iron Man Lifestyle. He's got like a few 100,000 followers. He's like the biggest dating coach out of India,
We should
right? Me
have
and
him
him have
on the
talked a
next
lot.
panel. That would be fucking crazy.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna say,
should do
hit him
like
up.
an
You should have him on the next one.
expedition. You should do like an
Yeah,
expedition to
I know
India and
he's
just see how
he's
it
actually been
goes.
to London. He's done game in London, and like I mean, he's like got a pretty big audience. He's gone very like mainstream. He got canceled at some point as well, but then his shit just kind of popped off, and you know, he's got a very large YouTube audience now, and he's just teaching game, teaching pickup. He's a huge fan of like the RSD guys from back in the day, right? I know he's been like trying to do a boot camp with Owen for a very long time. You know, me and him have been trying to link up in person for quite some time because I think it'd be a fun collab. You know, so like there's a big game community there. So obviously there's like a market for guys learning that shit. But then, you know, I always get like these comments on YouTube saying you can never do game in India. But like I will do like, bro, I lived in Australia for a bit, teared it up there. You know, spent a lot of time in LA or like Miami. Like, dude, like anywhere I go, I'm gonna get pussy because over a long period of time, I'm gonna figure it out. Right. Everyone always has an excuse of why they can't get girls in their city. Oh, you can't get girls in London, bro. Go to London, I'll tear it up. You know, put me in any city, in any country, bro, especially if you were to give me the same setup or a similar setup that I have in Toronto, bro, I'd be fucking killing it. Like, there's no question about it, right? It's just a matter of you know, like being able to like transfer what works in the city you're in to the different city you're traveling to, right? But then obviously, like, so I did that when I went to Medellin. I had a very similar setup when I went to Medellin that I do in Toronto. Besides the club stuff, like I didn't have any club access. I just had a sick penthouse and I just had like online dating and Tinder and Instagram, right? And dude, I got way more pussy in fucking Medellin than I ever do in Toronto. Like not like more or less, you know, like more like I would say like 30% more vag in Medellin than I do in Toronto, right? But it was like mostly online. And I do think Medellin, like the women are a little bit more promiscuous and a little bit more sexual, right? And the penthouse I had was fucking pimp, dude. Pimp. So, you know, like who knows? So I don't know, man. There's a lot of similarities to Europe and North America, but there's a lot of differences as well. I don't like. I think it really is on a person to person basis. It's really depending on what girl you talk to, right? It's really depending on where you go and what city you're in, and also
Yeah.
your level of effort.
Mhm. I wish I kind of showed this map earlier. The problem with it is, number one, who the fuck made this? Number two, whoever made this has most likely never been to every single fucking country. So
Good point.
where are they just like guessing? Like maybe they went to Argentina and a few countries here and there, but then they're like,
Yeah.
let me just make that red. Let me just make North Korea orange. And then
I'm
they're
not
just
sure
like
about this.
fill in the
I might be
blanks.
wrong, but I think this was like a community built map. Like I'm pretty sure this was like a community built like fucking map. So
I think we should do the
yeah,
same at Game Global. I should have like, okay, American community, how would you rate
yeah.
the easiness? And then I could do the
It's also
same
like
for
what you
India.
compare
We
it
have
to, right?
solid
Because
communities all over.
like 90% of people, like 80 to 90% of people don't fucking travel, or if they have traveled, they haven't traveled much. And if they have traveled, it was like a family vacation. It wasn't travel the world doing game. Like I literally spent fucking years traveling the whole fucking world doing game in like over 50 fucking countries. You know what I'm saying? And so like, yes, like I've seen this map and like I don't completely agree with everything. It's like I think Brazil, like it says Peru is easier than Brazil or Colombia. I think Brazil is
I agree.
easier than, and I think Colombia and Brazil is easier than Peru. And I think Peru's relatively easy, right? But I don't think Peru is easier than fucking Brazil and
Colombia.
Colombia. No, but
Yeah,
that's just my
I
experience.
agree.
That's my experience, right? So a lot of it's subjective, a lot of it's bias and that kind of thing as well. But yeah, man, I think like it's best to just go out there and find out for yourself. Like so I did when I was in South America in November, I did 40 women in 4 weeks. We did what the fuck was it? 7 girls my first day in Medellin. I'd never been to Medellin before. Right? So I spoke a little bit of Spanish, right? I had a lot of leads lined up from like like the fucking Tinder passport feature or whatever. So like first day I was there, fuck 7 girls, 22 women that week. And then I didn't do the Tinder passport thing for Peru, but you know, with a similar setup in Peru, like I did 6 girls there, I think. So the first week in Peru, right? And Brazil was easy mode, bro. Fucking easy mode. Like, so I probably could have done something similar, but like I just stopped fucking trying. So I think Brazil's very easy. I think Colombia is very easy, but I think Peru is like a little bit fucking more of a challenge but like it's still not a challenge. Like if you compare it to fucking North America. Now I think if you're a guy from North America who has absolutely fucking no game, you go to Peru, you're probably not gonna get the best results, or maybe you'll go out to the bar, get lucky. You'll be like a white guy speaking English, maybe a girl think you're cute, and then it'll be a little bit easier than you had it. But like at the end of the day, you have to learn social skills, you have to learn game, you have to put yourself out of your comfort zone, you have to develop confidence, charisma, personality, just push yourself, go out there and just fucking, dominate.
I think we should recreate this map. Maybe there are 2 ways we could do it. We could either do like a game global version where I ask
Yeah,
every
I think
fucking
I think if
city.
anyone has the ability to do it, it's with the Game
Exactly.
Global.
Yeah, I just realized that a few minutes ago. Second way is maybe it's possible to look at statistics of, you said like in India, maybe the average amount of guys
There's a
a
lot of
woman
statistics
has
out
had
there.
sex is
There's a
like
lot of
one.
statistics out
Then it could probably be based on simply the number, like
The
something
issue
like
is
that.
even with a lot of statistics, it's like where is this data coming from and how can you
Exactly.
even like,
It's
you know what
not
I mean? Because like,
universal. But if we
yeah,
do a
so
game
I
global
saw a
version,
statistic that
then
says
at
women in
least
Turkey
the
have the highest body count. But like I don't know if I believe that. Like that's what the statistics say. It's like out of all the countries, women in Turkey have the highest like fucking body count of women worldwide. But like I don't know if I fucking believe that at all, right? So it's really fucking hard to say. It's really really hard to say how accurate these things are. But yeah,
yeah.
like I think again, it's on a person to person basis. Obviously, there's like cultural norms and societal norms. Because I've been to Egypt, I spent 2 weeks in Egypt. Now, I didn't go for game. I purely went for tourism. Maybe it would be a whole different experience if I went to fucking Cairo and stayed in a hotel, which is on Tinder the whole time. Maybe I would have teared it up because there's 25 fucking million people in Cairo. And I'm sure I would have found a girl on Tinder who wants to come over and fuck, right? But instead, I went on like a 2 week tour, right? And then I was just bouncing city to city every day. So like I didn't get pussy in fucking Egypt, right? But who knows? Maybe if I stayed in Cairo the whole time, maybe I wouldn't have gotten pussy. I spent like a day in Cairo trying to game a little bit and not Tinder, not online dating, right? just like the nightlife stuff, and like I did a bit of cold approach, but it wasn't like anything significant, and I found it very difficult to even find places where there would be single attractive women hanging out, right? And so obviously places like Egypt or Saudi Arabia are going to be a bit more of a challenge, right? And like if you're trying to do like it depends on what you define as game. Like if you're trying to do cold approach pickup, maybe that's not the best place to do it. But maybe if you're doing like high level soul circle game and you have a friend who's like in government or politics or something like that, and they're doing some high level event, and like maybe there's different alternatives there, right? So like really you got to define like what is game and what type of game are you defining? Are you doing some sort of soul circle thing? Right? Because I've done cold approach for fucking 10 years. And then I've also done soul circle game for 10 years simultaneously. Right. So it's certain place I go to, I'll like turn on what game I have to do. Right. So when I went to Medellin, I was doing a lot of online game and turning that into like a soul circle type dynamic where I was bringing over like fucking literally 15 girls at a time to the penthouse and just like creating like parties from online dating. Right. But then in a city like Toronto, I built a soul circle over many, many years. So I have that. But then I also still do cold approach every now and then. Right. But I don't have to rely on that at all whatsoever. Right. But then, when I go to Europe, if I don't know anybody in a city of never been to, then fuck yeah, I'll do cold approach. I went to Portugal in late 2022. First day there, I did like 150 cold approaches till I fucking pulled, right? And it was just like, it was very like casual cold approaches. We're just like bar hopping, dicking around, hanging out with the boys. And then, like, I'm guessing 150 cold approaches might have been like 80. I don't know. I wasn't counting, right? And a lot of them are very like surface level cold approach, just being social, chatting with chicks, whatever, right? But I'm just out till fuck 3 a.m. and then I find a girl and I fucking take her home, right? So in different cities, different countries, different things will work better, obviously, right? Like if you're in LA or Vegas or Miami or Toronto, like getting into the right soul circles would do you better than anything, right? If you're just at the right fucking party, you're gonna meet girls, or the right venues, you're gonna meet girls, right? Versus if you are in, I remember I was in Australia backpacking through the fuck. I wasn't backpacking. We were like I was doing the whole East Coast trip across Australia. We're in like beach towns for 2 days at a time, right? We're staying in like nice places, but I'd pop over the hostel bars and just like fucking hit on chicks there. So like really it's like finding the right women where they hang out, where they, hang out. Cause if you're in fucking Magnetic Island off the coast of Australia, there's only a certain like population of like fucking 4,000 or some shit, right? Like there's only a certain amount of places you're gonna fucking meet single women who want to party, hang out, and have fun and meet a guy.
Antarctica. I think we've been thinking about this map the wrong way. If you see here, it says easiness to sexy by. So I think it was made by a newfie
Wait, why do you think that?
because it says easiness to sexy by. It's newfie slang.
Okay. No, I've never heard that slang before.
Only
Okay.
like hardcore East Coast understanding. Yeah, anyway, let's stop sharing that. I'm so convinced that I need to replicate that fucking map. Probably like two
Good.
versions. That has like firewall potential, I suppose, but that'll be fucking crazy. Yeah, let's jump on
Yeah,
to
I really like what you've been doing with Game Blow and everything, man. It's been fucking great. You've been crushing it.
it's completely insane. Yeah. 5 years strong, at least, something like that. Must be in 2019 or something.